Tez.
Welcome to the TezDown. Welcome.
I'm the Tez.
Mic check 1 2. Welcome. Welcome to the TezDown. Party time. Welcome to the TezDown. It's Thursday and it's good to see you guys. I am happy to see y'all today. So today's show is a pretty important show, special show to me. There's so many different things that have been going on in this world that we're living in, and there's so many differences of opinions that have been happening. And I just got to tell you, one of the main things, there it goes. Yeah, we in here. One of the main things that I want everybody to remember each and every day that they live their lives is that no matter what you think, no matter who you are, you have to make a choice. And if you don't make a choice will be made for you. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how we are not divided. We're being played. We're going to hear some examples from some people that have the knowledge for us. We're going to see what they're talking about. We're going to hear the type of things that they go through. We're just going to dive into. We don't have too much time today. As y'all know, I do have another life that I got to get to. We're going to start with it bright and early. We're going to start with it bright and early. Let's go ahead and put our banner up. Is it party realignment? Is it the farce? Tell us what happened here. Tell us who did this to us and why we feel the way that we feel about this particular issue. And when I say we, I mean the collective we, not the royal we, but the collective we. Let's get into it.
If we were to wipe the slate clean and to create a system of governance that really centers people of color, particularly Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, what system would really lift up those voices to make sure that those concerns were heard?
The right to vote is a fundamental bedrock of American democracy, and it is a crucial tool in the ongoing battle against systemic racism.
The biggest problems in Metro Atlanta, specifically areas with higher Black populations.
As the primaries have highlighted, race is certainly a factor in our election system. Is this truly a government by the people, for the people? And if not, could a more representative, multi-party democracy help get us there?
The two-party system in the United States, we believe, is a major contributor to structural racism.
George Chung runs More Equitable Democracy, a nonprofit focused on racial equity in elections. He says that our winner-take-all system, dominated by two main parties, has historically underserved communities of color.
Really, there is one party that is just generally hostile to anything related to racial equity and believes, generally speaking, that they have no way to attract more votes of color. So they just pretty much do anything they can to undermine the participation of communities of color. And then the other party pretty much can say, we're here for you, we're not them, we're better, so who else do you have to vote for? And so that creates a really untenable situation where people of color feel like they really have no choice.
Congress is more diverse than ever, yet just over 20% of voting members are racial or ethnic minorities, in a country where about 40% of the population is non-white. The history of the Oval Office speaks for itself. Issues of voting inequities have repeatedly become lawsuits between Democrats and Republicans. In 2018, the Supreme Court held in place Texas voting maps that Democrats argued weakened the growing voting power of minorities. A year later, the court barred challenges to partisan gerrymandering altogether. George argues that a potential solution would be a proportional multi-party system for the U.S. House of Representatives, where instead of a winner-take-all between a Democrat or Republican, candidates from, say, 4 to 5 parties would compete and hold power, the number of seats allocated proportionally to the votes won by each party. This kind of representation would be similar to the systems in Ireland and Australia. Candidates for those parties could also compete for U.S. Senate seats and the White House using ranked choice voting, where voters list out their preference in order, and the winning candidate is determined by rank. These elections would not be proportional, though, since the offices are designed for single winners.
We probably would still have a center-left political party at Democrats. We would have a center-right political party. I would call them an old-school Republican Party that really doesn't exist anymore. We probably would have a Tea Party or other very nationalistic party further to the right, and then maybe 1 or 2 parties further to the left.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Say what?
I think that this would provide an opportunity for a new party that really truly embraces racial equity as its main value. To really rise and really be the home for people of color who just feel disaffected by the two-party system.
Minority political parties have historically existed, but their success in elections is often fleeting. Take the Raza Unida Party in the 1970s, which was comprised of Latinx political leaders in Texas and other southwestern states.
They were able in certain city councils to win all of those seats because they were the majority. But once again, the challenge of a winner-take-all system puts pressure for those small political parties to really try to contest within the structure of the two-party system, as opposed to really blossoming and being able to really embody the hopes and dreams.
So let me ask you a question. When you vote, are you voting for the person that looks like you, or are you paying attention to what they're talking about? And I'm not just talking about the presidential party, the presidential election. No, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the general elections in your neighborhoods. Does anybody vote for, let's just say, your HOA president? That is somebody that you get to vote for. Does anyone get to vote for the school board president? Do you get to vote for the school board president if you're in the district? This is a fact. So I'm asking, do you vote for your aldermen if you have them? Do you vote for your state senators? Then do you vote for your state senators for Congress? Your House of Representatives? Any of those smaller ones, your mayor even, your governor, do you vote in those elections? If you're not voting in those elections, then your political affiliation doesn't matter. You have to vote in those elections in order to get those electors, the people in place that are going to serve your interests better. My interests aren't being served very well. No, they're not going to be served very well. They're not going to, because you don't vote in the right elections. Now, I'm not telling anybody that they need to vote. I'm saying if you're going to complain about the way that things are, you should at least vote. If you don't care either way and you're going to make it and you're going to do your thing and you're going to be out there and you're going to make it happen, then you don't have to worry about voting. But don't complain if you're not getting something that you want, or a piece of legislation was passed that you don't have a say on. So if your kid can't wear bell bottoms to school and they want to wear bell bottoms to school, they can't wear the new shoes you bought them because they passed an order that you can't wear those shoes at school. You didn't do anything about it because you didn't elect anybody. You didn't vote. You didn't show up to the meetings. Your opinion was not heard until you got pissed off. You see how that works?
Communities of color, because they have a path to building real political power.
There's no constitutional precedent for a two-party system. In fact, it doesn't say anything about political parties at all. George Washington went so far as to speak out against them. But by the time he left office, two parties had formed, and we've operated that way ever since.
If we really think about the challenges that we face in terms of reconciling with our racist history, having an electoral system that is at its core, it's about who sets the agenda and what policies that we pass and govern ourselves. we need to have equity built into that system, because without that, then communities of color and other minority groups will be forever on the outside, and we'll never get to a system that really embraces racial equity and provides.
Now, see, that's a term that a lot of people haven't been bringing up, racial equity. What this means is that you are being represented by people who, at the very least, have the same kind of background as you. So they can at least understand what it is you're going through whenever it was that you were going through it. You see, that's an important thing. That's a very important thing. Well, why do we feel this way? Well, we feel this way because when we're under attack by people making legislation about things that we do every single day that are normal, and we feel under attack about it, we can have someone that steps up and says, look at where I got to. Look at where I came from. I came from the same place as them. I did the exact same things. There is nothing wrong with that. And you guys aren't going to victimize it just because you're not just like them. So it really starts to come down to where are your values and morals really at? That's the real question. Let's keep it moving.
Real opportunity for all of our communities.
So we want to have opportunities in the communities that we are a part of. How would you like it if your child or your wife or your husband, how would you like it if they went somewhere and someone told them, hey, you got to go all the way back home because you don't have the right haircut? You would think, well, this is 2026. What do you mean I don't have the right haircut? And they're going to say, no, go home. See, what you have to realize is anytime that anybody starts to step up and tell you about something that you have rights for, you should only have one answer for it.
Doesn't make any sense.
Too bad.
They don't need to know. They don't need to know. And they're going to ask you again, I want you to go and do this. You have one answer.
No.
What?
I said no.
Why not?
I don't want to.
I don't want to. No. It's that simple. Go out, get your people in office, gain racial equity so that decisions can be made that are going to benefit not just your party, not just your people, but the people around you too. Now, I totally understand being selfish. I totally understand that. I'm not going to tell you not to be selfish. I'm not going to call you names for being selfish. I'm just going to tell you that, remember, the tables do turn, always, and they flip over too. So I think the verdict's a little bit still out on this, on the flipping of the party. So we're going to have to watch another video to see what they're talking about.
Today,
let's see what's going on with the two-party system.
The American Republicans are considered the conservative party, and the American Democrats are considered the liberal party. But if you talk about the Civil War or the 1960s, suddenly the Republicans are the liberals and the Democrats are the conservatives, and everything in between.
Ah, so you're telling me that there was a party realignment. As you guys can see from the lovely ticker that we have right there, just sitting right on the side, party realignment, is it the farce? You see, one of the stories that's being told, especially in Black America today, is that, well, the Black people started the Republicans. It was those other people that started the Democrats. Y'all supporting them Democrats instead of these Republicans over here. Well, see, I don't support either one of them. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. As far as I'm concerned, they're on the same team. As far as I'm concerned, they're on the same team. But for the purpose of American politics, in today's society, we're going to give you a little bit of background on party realignment and how this happened.
Between then and now seems to be a confusing mess. So why is this? Did the parties just suddenly switch platforms at one point? A lot of people seem to think so, and often the debate seems to be focused on why and when they switched. But there might not have been a real party switch at all, at least not in the sense that many seem to describe. What we tend to find in the narrative of the party switch, and even in the narratives of party switch deniers, is the viewing of American history through a fairly narrow perspective, concentrated on racial politics, specifically as it pertains to the South and the African American population. What this does is it chops out a great deal of context and the wider picture of American political evolution. This is to say that the general understanding of the so-called party switch is a bad oversimplification that only causes more confusion, with both Democrats and Republicans today who don't understand their party's roots, blaming each other for the mistakes of the past, and finding themselves totally lost on the real history.
So neither party seems to understand what it was developed for. So you would think that if neither party understood what it was developed for, neither party really stands for anything. Because how can you stand for something if you don't have a foundation? Well, you probably could stand for a little bit, but the ground would be very squishy. You start to sink in and, maybe topple over. Sounds familiar to anybody? Am I painting a picture that everyone can appreciate? I hope so.
Of how they ended up where they are today. So in this video, we're going to clear up some of the confusion of the party switch. Hello audience, Mr. Z here with another video for you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We have videos just like this every week, and believe it or not, only about 25% of you watching are actually subscribed to the channel right. Political parties, we must go into a brief bit of American history. In the year 1492, assuming you're familiar with the prevailing currents of politics in the European kingdoms of the time. Alright, in all seriousness, probably the core of misunderstanding surrounding what happened to the parties is the nature of the party system in America itself. Actually, we'll break this up into three factors, and number one is how the parties work in America. Many will assume, even here in the States and in contemporary times, that because we have two parties, there are only ever two major schools of thought in American politics, even across the span of history. That the Republicans have always been about X and the Democrats have always been about Y. That the conservatives of 1800 were identical in their views to the conservatives of today, etc., etc. This is false. At virtually any given time in American history, there are many different competing ideologies vying for power, and often these are a manifestation of regional desires, varied cultural values, and competing lifestyles among different American groups, what we'll refer to as ideological blocs. This is the second major factor, and we'll touch on it momentarily. We put together a video on the different nations of America that you can check out after this video, and I have plenty of videos talking about how different regions and cultures in America have always had their own unique and diverse interests, rooted in their differing cultures and circumstances. But to not get too far off that topic, because of the two-party system, what you will commonly see is these multiple distinct factions form coalitions represented by the larger parties. One might say the Republican Party is merely the conservative party, but in reality it is a mishmash of isolationists and warhawks, common farmers and elite Wall Street investors, populists and elitists, big government and small government people. They all have different visions for what they want America to be, yet for some reason come together behind one party. Same goes for the Democrats and their factions, and I've got a video on that too for anyone who wants to.
I got this blown up for a reason. So as you can see, there are several factions on both sides in this two-party system. So while you may have the interests of yourself here, this part of the party may not have the same interests as you. So what are you forced to do except for run on one side or the other? And then lump together a bunch of other things that you probably don't care about at all, so you could get to three things that you actually do care about. So there's 19 things on here, but you're lumping yourself in with one party so you can get one or two or three of the 19 things that you want to get done. And it's the same on the other side. It doesn't matter which side we're talking about because it's the same on both sides.
Check it out. Sure, sometimes you get a reform party or a progressive party that aims to shake up the duality of the two-party system. Sometimes one of the factions breaks the coalition to go out on its own, but generally speaking, the way you win is by hitching your wagon to the elephant or the donkey and hoping that you can steer it in the direction you want it to go, at least for a little while. Just remember there are probably 10 other guys all trying to steer in different directions as well. This already probably shines some light on what really happened during the so-called party switch, a reorientation of factions within the parties rather than the parties just switching ideologies or platforms, and that is in fact what we see. Now let's talk briefly about the different factions in America and their ideologies. I know I've already done this a couple times already, but yes, I do have a video on the evolution of ideology in America as well that you can watch for more in-depth analysis after this video. But to simplify things, let's just focus on 4 or 5 major political blocks.
Okay, guys, this is that point in the show. This is that point in the show where I ask you guys to take care of business for me. We're going to continue. We're going to learn this together today. I'm going to learn something today. You guys are going to learn something today too. It's just how it goes. Hopefully everybody that is on their way to work, everybody that is on their lunch, thank you guys for stopping in and saying what's up to me. I appreciate it. Everybody who's at work now, thank you for watching me while I'm at work. Hopefully I can help you get through your day. Right now, I need you guys to stop and hit that like button. I need you guys to stop and hit the like button and take a little bit of that inventory so we can go ahead and do that. You guys are over here telling me that I'm just talking about the government too much and I got all this going on. You know what you guys sound like?
Blah, blah, gay sex, blah, blah, Congress.
That's what you guys sound like. Yeah, no. We're talking about some real stuff today, and this is very important. So we're going to learn the different factions of the political system in the United States of America. Let's go.
In the US. There is a bloc concentrated most heavily in the Northeast that is at present and generally always has been relatively well-educated, affluent, and mercantile, with tendencies towards socially liberal but economically conservative values. And it's true that the region was far more socially conservative then, though some might argue that this was less about conservative values and more about its proclivity toward hierarchy and conformity. In the South, you of course have a large bloc which has historically always supported political decentralization, small government, militarism, or war hawkism, and up until relatively recently, the more rural and agricultural character of the United States, with a tendency towards socially conservative values. The relationship between the white and black population in America has also always been of major interest to the South because more than any other region, it held the greatest concentration of the African American population. The black population of the South, and later its diaspora across the rest of the country, should also be considered a distinct voting bloc, which, having had to bear a history defined by enslavement and ostracism, generally seeks to advance its own power and security in the country, being highly skeptical of the other factions to treat them fairly. Voting patterns among African Americans are a bit of a complex issue as well, and I've also covered that in greater detail in this video here. We'll keep this from getting too complicated and just point out that the Midwest and Appalachia are two other key voting blocs heavily defined by their proclivity toward labor policy. The Midwest having been the heart of American industrialization, and Appalachia having been a treasure trove of raw material which fueled the economy of this otherwise heavily underdeveloped and destitute region. Unlike their coastal neighbors, whose access to the sea contributed to their fixation on international trade and conquest, these internal lands of the Midwest and Appalachia have largely been more isolationist and fixated on internal developments rather than foreign venture. Now let's talk about how things got switched in the first place. Prior to the Civil War, new parties had greater viability. The Democratic and Republican parties, after all, were at one point new parties themselves. But in the aftermath of the Civil War, once the Republicans had won and reconsolidated power, the parties became less about specific ideologies and more just vessels for whatever ideology happened to have the most pull in the coalitions. The Democratic Party, founded by Andrew Jackson, started off with a mission that aligned perfectly with its name. It aimed to democratize, to expand political power to more Americans and decentralize authority away from the federal government to the states. Naturally, this attracted the South, and at the time, what was much of the less developed and rural interior states. Jacksonian democracy opened up two separate doors. On the one side was the obvious fact that many Democrats began to emphasize the states' rights aspect of the party's doctrine, particularly as it related to Southern agrarianism. The South as a culture had always been fairly skeptical of federal intervention in state affairs, and quickly became a base of support for the early Democratic school of thought. Contrasting the lifestyle of the more urbanized Northeast, the Southern lifestyle was built on agriculture, and issues like free trade, rural living, and the practice of slavery were tied to this lifestyle, leading these issues to hold greater sway in Democratic circles, and as time went on, they pulled the party more toward a Southern-focused platform. The other door opened was that by expanding the franchise to the non-land owning population across the country, the Democrats, despite developing a major base in the South, had made it virtually inevitable that the North would become the dominant region of the country. As with the outbreak of industrialization, its urban communities were seeing population growth and expansion on a level that the rural South simply couldn't compete with. And the two would in fact begin to compete. As the Democratic Party increasingly became a tool for promoting Southern influence, the North established its own party in the form of the Republican Party, standing on a series of interests which explicitly appeal to the average Northerner, from economic protectionism to federal infrastructure investment to homesteading to, of course, the gradual or immediate eradication of slavery. The Republican Party pulled behind it the Northeast, the Midwest, and the Far West, and occasionally parts of Appalachia, which at times were torn between its ties to the culture of the South and its preference of Northern Republican politics. So the North wins the Civil War, and the Southern Democrats and the Democratic Party in general are utterly sidelined from major political influence for a long time. With the country rapidly changing and there only really being one viable political party outside of the South, ideologies begin to evolve. You have agrarian populists in the heartland, you have labor unionists and socialists popping up in the Midwest, classical liberals emerging from the North at large, the list goes on. And some of these groups would eventually form their own political parties, but it soon became clear that the odds of a third party winning a national level election were slim to none. So members and elements of these ideologies work their way into the Democratic and Republican parties, and the ideology that ends up taking over the Republican Party is progressivism. The progressives were an evolutionary step in moderate Republican politics, because remember, American Republicanism by this point wasn't just a party, but also an ideology. And basically, the progressives who drew upon some of the ideology of these other factions made the Republican Party more in favor of labor, alleviating social ills, cracking down on corruption, etc. Well, with the Southern Democrats still basically persona non grata, not holding much influence outside of the South, that same progressive ideology ends up becoming the leading faction in the Democratic Party too. with many Democrats outside of the South eventually embracing progressivism as representative of the values the party was founded on, giving more to the common people but through an activist government. For a time, you basically have the two parties championing the same policies with minor tweaks, though it should be emphasized this is only the case at the national level. At the regional level, you still see different factions leading the regional wings of their parties. These Southern-focused Redeemers or Proto-Dixiecrat Democrats still in the Southeast, while the Labor wing of the party in Appalachia came to embrace more progressive ideals. The Republican Party underwent a significant transformation after World War I, as fiscal conservatives gained control, offering an appealing alternative to the progressivism that had dominated American politics during and after the Great War. This new direction attracted support from the pro-business Northeast and West, as well as isolationist regions in the Midwest and interior, all seeking a break from the progressive policies they felt had overstayed their welcome. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party continued to develop its brand of progressivism, which led to a massive resurgence as Republican reputations suffered under the weight of the Great Depression. The New Deal strand of progressivism championed by FDR became the cornerstone of the Democratic platform, uniting a broad coalition that included socially conservative Southern Democrats, elite social liberals, urban minorities, labor unions, and even some former Republican progressives disillusioned with their party's increasingly pro-business stance. During this period, the Republicans found themselves with little influence, relying primarily on northeastern fiscal conservatives and non-interventionist socially conservative rural Midwesterners as their base. Even the one Republican president elected after FDR's passing, Dwight D. Eisenhower, was highly sympathetic to New Deal policies, signaling just how much the political landscape had shifted. But the first major fissure in the Democratic coalition appeared after World War II, with the death of FDR and the ascension of Harry Truman, who prioritized civil rights reform over the traditional New Deal focus on economic issues. This shift created tension with the conservative Southern base of the party, which had long been loyal but now felt alienated by the push for racial integration. Of course, racial issues had always been a major cornerstone of Southern ideology, and this had been a breaking point for them. In response, Southern Democrats began fielding independent Dixiecrat candidates to challenge the party, signaling their growing discontent. At the same time, the Republican Party was in the midst of its own transformation, struggling to hold together its socially liberal northeastern wing and the more conservative interior communities. The 1964 election was a pivotal moment, with conservative candidate Barry Goldwater losing to New Deal loyalist Lyndon Baines Johnson. However, this loss revealed an opportunity. For the first time, the Deep South, the states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, all voted Republican, drawn to Goldwater's opposition to the Civil Rights Act, which he argued was unconstitutional. Now, unlike Dixiecrats like Strom Thurmond and George Wallace, Goldwater's stance was genuinely rooted in a belief in limited federal power, not opposition to civil rights per se. Yet many in the South interpreted his position as a coded endorsement of the resistance to civil rights.
Now, here's the thing. I wouldn't say that it was very coded at all. If you oppose civil rights, you oppose civil rights. And that's really what it is. And obviously, if you have a central figure that's a part of a party that opposes a major central idea of the party, you're probably going to have a party switch or a party flip. And people are going to leave the party, and that what comes down to party realignment. That's how it starts.
Appeal to constitutionalism, a strategy not unfamiliar to the South from its antebellum defenses of slavery, resonated not only with Southerners but also with conservatives across the country. The vast majority of conservatives in the country could certainly get behind constitutionalism, and the Republican establishment recognized that this was an opportunity to court the South by promising more states' rights and challenging federal civil rights laws, a move that could potentially realign the South with the Republican Party for the first time since the Civil War. However, this was a delicate balancing act, as the party still needed to retain its liberal northeastern base, which largely supported civil rights. The Republican strategy of compromise reached its zenith under Richard Nixon's administration.
Tricky Dick. Tricky Dick. Y'all know what Richard Nixon was, don't you? I know I ain't got to say it again.
You better learn how to lie like me. I'm going to find me a white.
Richard Nixon let y'all know he wasn't playing around.
Lie to him right now.
Nixon managed to appeal to various factions across the country by promising deregulation to the business interests of the North, tax cuts to the suburban middle class of the Midwest, and small government and states' rights to the South. For many in the South, this was interpreted as a green light to push back against federal civil rights politics, even as Nixon quietly continued to advance racial integration. By the time of Ronald Reagan's presidency, this compromise strategy and its ideology had fully crystallized, solidifying the Republican Party around capitalism, small government, conservative Christian values, and an interventionist foreign policy under the banner of neoconservatism.
Oh, so you mean to tell me that this didn't happen until the 70s? Wonder what else happened in the late 60s and the early 70s. Pop quiz for anybody in the chat. Can y'all tell me what happened in the late 60s and the early 70s? I know a lot of what happened in the 70s.
Just blah, blah, gay sex, blah, blah, Congress.
Yeah, a lot of that. This looks like that's still going on today. Wonder what would cause the parties to start flipping in the 70s.
This approach locked in the South and the Great Plains as reliable Republican strongholds, while gradually alienating the socially liberal Northeast and Northwest, as well as the labor-focused Midwest. These alienated regions in turn were courted by the neoliberal faction of the Democratic Party, which appealed to both the business interests and social values of the coast while also promoting union rights in the Midwest. The urban minority vote remained a strong base of support for this new Democratic coalition, setting the stage for the political realignment that would persist for decades. This realignment shows that while on the surface the political parties appear to shift, in reality the underlying ideological blocks remain remarkably consistent, even as they themselves evolve over time, and it's because of this evolution coupled with major events and developments that you see not party switches, but changes to how different ideological blocks vote, placing more of their support behind one party or another, and in turn compelling the party to place greater emphasis on one issue or another to maintain its base. A fascinating thing, though, is how the creation of these coalitions actually impacts the development of various ideological blocks. For instance, the Republicans in the process of courting the South came at this with a mindset of, we don't condone what the South might do with small government, but look, we're pushing for civil rights more than ever before. We just want it to be done locally. And gradually it seems the Southerners really began to believe that too. What might have started out, at least on the part of the South, as a ploy to perpetuate a struggle against civil rights policy, turned into a genuine desire for small government, now often, but certainly not always, detached from racial issues. Today, most conservative Southerners focus on gun rights, school choice, and religious expression, downplaying or even denouncing policy relating to race, which has previously been fundamental to Southern ideology, even going so far as to see Southerners critique other groups, including African Americans, for resorting to racial and identity-based politics. One of the key...
Here's the funniest thing about this. You are victimized and villainized for resorting to racially based politics, except that's how everybody else votes. That's how everybody else votes everywhere. All over the world. The people who are allowed to vote based on what's good for their home and their people. So you're asking me to vote against what's good for me and my people. You want me to join one of these sides when neither one of these sides gives a crap about me. Neither one of them did. And they're saying, oh, we're not asking for that. And I'm just like,
you did.
And I'm just like, no, we didn't. And I'm just like,
you did.
And every time they're just like, oh, I don't understand why you don't want to do this. And I'm just like, because you want me to go outside of what's good for me and my house. And they're like, no, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I don't understand why anyone doesn't see what they're doing right in front of you. Anytime they tell you to put on a blue shirt or a red hat or anything like that, they're manipulating you. You see, we are, me, you, and anybody else, we're not divided. No, we're not. No, we're not. We are manipulated. And it's really easy to see it once you start looking for it. You see, anytime they start saying, well, you're black, all black people should. Oh, you're black, all black people should, and especially if it's not coming from a black person. But the worst part about all of this is that nowadays, the people that we got going on right now, they are getting paid to tell us to do things that are actually counter to what's actually good for us in our community. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. At each and every single time. And I'm just like,
Doesn't make any sense.
Too bad.
every time. Every time. Every single time. So you got to start asking yourself these questions. You really do. Why would someone get me to vote against what I know to be good and right for my family? Why would someone get me to say, well, oh, there's 1,000 other things on this ticket that they want to push, but I should vote for them because I don't know, I'm blue today. Last time I checked, I wasn't very blue. Last time I checked, I wasn't very red. Last time I checked, I'm brown. That's the last time I checked. Where's the brown party at? Anybody know? Is there a brown party? Is there a brown party? Okay. Let's just keep it moving.
The issues with this is that it at times leads to a form of denialism, where some Southerners insist that slavery and segregation were purely democratic ideologies, not Southern ones, and that responsibility for those actions lies squarely with the Democratic Party, seemingly oblivious to the irony of such a statement. It's crucial to recognize that slavery and segregation were rooted in Southern culture and ideology, not party lines. Though this being said, modern Southerners had nothing to do with that. Yet this has not stopped modern liberal Democrats from demonizing the Southerners, and modern Southerners shifting blame to the Democrats. There ought to
you see how they control you? That's how they control you. That's how they divide you. You take a group of people that had nothing to do with anything at all, you put them in the center of it, you focus on it, and they say they're the ones that are doing this to you. It's them over there. The whole time they are robbing you blind. They're robbing you blind. There's nothing you can do about it. They got you. They got you already. They got you. All you gonna do is scream. And that's
Shit, Negro. That's all you had to say.
be an honest recognition of the past and simply moving forward from that instead of this blaming game of who was really at fault. The consistent thread is that ideological blocs like the South and its preference for small government remain steady trends across history, while the two political parties, at least since the Civil War, have really just been vessels for those ideologies, and the party loyalty of these blocs is what actually shifts and switches, with these blocs sometimes coming together to create a new national ideology, which in turn contributes to the gradual evolution of the blocs and their ideologies.
a new national ideology. Sounds very familiar. Some people might say that was very MAGA-like. Hey, but you know what? I just know a little bit about politics. But it's cool. I just know a little bit about it. Okay, guys. The verdict is still a little bit out, so we're going to move forward a little bit, and we're going to talk about this. So the whole basis of most people's political ideology is two things: rights and economy. Rights and economy. Well, in the economy that you live in today, can you ask yourself a couple of questions? The first question that you want to ask yourself: am I making enough money for the amount of work that I'm doing? That's number one. Number two, do the government services that my taxes pay for actually benefit me, or do they benefit only others? That's number two. And number three, are the taxes fair compared to what everyone is receiving, whether that be public works, whether that be the space program, whether that be national health care and which way that you're getting it, or whether it just be something as simple as the school system? Those are all the questions that you want to ask, but those are related to how you vote. But the major one that we're going to focus on now, that we shifted away from the political parties, the two-party flawed system that we have, is your money and how you make it and when you make it and how long you spend making it. And if you got to get up every day and you got to go as hard as you can. Nobody wants to get up and go as hard as they can for minimum wage. I'll tell you that right now. There are people who would do it. I am a person who has done it in the past. I know, right? It sounds crazy, but I have done it. When I needed a job, I took a job, and I worked, and I made some money, and then I got up out of there when the time was right. Wasn't too long, wasn't too short. I had a goal, and I reached it. Let me tell you what I saw: people calling off every day, people not showing up, not dressed correctly, looking unkempt and disheveled, looking like they just rolled out of bed. That's usually what happens at minimum wage. And then the people have the nerve to come in and say, I got bad service. Well, you got bad service, all right. You know, they had no care at all. Kay says, neither party has any kind of coherent ideology other than gaining power and protecting capital. That's right, Kay. Blue hand carrot, red hand stick. Same party, two faces. Exactly. That's my whole point. Same party, two faces. We are arguing over the same thing. Next in line for today on the TezDown, we got, boom, when did hustling get toxic? When did it get toxic? Does anybody know? We need to find out.
Slaves worked.
Let's see what we can find out today. This is going to be wild.
Slaves worked all the hours they were awake for their entire lives. I think, like, if they can do it, so can I.
If you're a man, you're single, right? No kids, you're not working at least 80 hours a week. The fact is that you're lazy.
99% of people have no excuse for not being able to make 10 grand a month.
There's somebody living on
I celebrate capitalism.
$1 a day in Africa is getting up in the morning and saying, I'm going to be Bill Gates.
That's the motivation everybody needs.
If money is evil, then that building is hell. This is the most obnoxious group of money-hungry, low IQ, high energy, jackrabbit, fucking wannabe, big time, small time, shit talking, bothersome, irritating bunch of motherfuckers I have ever had to endure for more than 5 minutes.
Dropshipping, affiliate marketing, stock courses, and other internet side hustles have become staples in our modern lexicon. It seems like all of us know at least one person who has started an e-commerce business, YouTube, OnlyFans, or any other avenue of non-traditional income online. Most people don't want to admit it, but the mass influx of people trying their luck online hasn't come from nowhere. In the quest to defeat hustle culture, people have run to other avenues that perpetuate the same systems that they're against. Hustle culture can be defined as the glorification of working very long hours in hopes of reaching one's
Let's go through it again, y'all. Hustle culture is a societal phenomenon that glorifies overwork and prioritizes productivity and success above all else. It often promotes the idea that one must constantly hustle and grind to achieve success, and that rest and relaxation are signs of weakness and laziness. No, everything in moderation. Now, I realize that a lot of people aren't built like me. I get that. I realize a lot of people aren't about to get up in the morning and say, we're going to go to the gym. Not only are we going to go to the gym, we're going to come back, we're going to make something healthy, and then we're going to start editing. Not only are we going to come back to the gym, make something healthy and start editing, we're going to wash our laundry. Not only are we going to wash our laundry, we're going to get up, we're going to start making something healthy, we're going to wash our laundry, and we're going to make sure that everything that we're doing for the rest of the day is productive. And then we're going to clock in. And then after we clock in, we're going to do it again. And then we're going to take a nap for 4 hours, 5 hours if you're lucky. Get up and do it again tomorrow. Now, let me tell you, there is a recipe for getting somewhere. It might not necessarily be the recipe for success that everyone thinks that it is, but it is a recipe for getting somewhere. Does it tire you out? You bet your bottom dollar. You bet your bottom dollar that it tires you out. Repetition helps you after a while, but you still are going to need to rest. You still need to find time for yourself. You're still going to need to say, well, okay, I did this for 6 straight days. Day 7, I need to take a break. Day 7, I need to chill for a little bit. Otherwise, my heart's going to give out. Otherwise, those types of things. You need to take a break sometimes. Even I might go a month without taking a day off, but I'm still going to get my days off. And then I might go 2 weeks where I'm like, I'm leaving the country and I'm going to hang out somewhere. And I'm going to have a good time. And I'm going to not worry about nothing that's going on at home. It's necessary. It really is. It's necessary for your life.
Professional goals. It also goes hand in hand with extreme materialism and neglect of hobbies and relations outside of work. People who are deep into hustle culture typically live up to the 9-to-5 worker stereotype. They deal with imposing bosses that they work very hard to impress, work longer hours in the pursuit of having more income, and constantly seek new ways and avenues to accumulate more wealth, moral or not. Now, this is not to be confused with people who need to work longer hours to pay for necessities. Hustlers do extra work to satisfy and maintain luxury lifestyles that they seek out, whether or not they get it. And the truth of the matter is that only the survivors glorify hustle culture. In this day and age, you've probably heard people on social media discussing escaping the rat race, not being a 9-to-5 slave, Matrix, and other main character feel-good speeches and think pieces. Nobody wants to take orders from higher-ups for their entire lives, especially while not being given a sufficient standard of living. However, most of the solutions marketed to the working class are just hustle grind set ideals wrapped in sugar-coated social media posts and news articles. If you need 3 extra streams of income to live comfortably, you're not escaping the matrix, you're buying your way out. A lot of people have subconsciously realized this truth, but instead of falling into hustle culture directly or simply going off grid, they migrate to finding side hustles online. Internet money and get-rich schemes seem lucrative to the average person. Making YouTube videos for money or upselling sweatshop products for a higher profit from the comfort of your own home seems easy until you learn the logistics, effort, and survivorship bias that permeate these areas. It's easy to buy into the fantasy of dropping out of high school to day trade when you don't know that the dudes taking pictures of their sports cars get $20,000 from their parents. It's also easy to claim that you hate the Matrix and rich elites while you use sweatshop labor to sell fitness yoga pants for profit. After all, it's better than working a dead-end job that you hate, right? The problem that arises, however, is that these side hustles are still products of hustle culture. The fear-mongering of the average work life in the United States and the neglect of wealth hoarding and inequality has led to a disconnect in our view on the value of our own labor and our relations with fellow humans. Hobbies are turned into methods of profit while the pursuit of money is prioritized. All of these aforementioned factors, including hustle culture, are normalized due to the refusal to critique capitalism and the eventual monopoly of assets by bigger fish in our economy. Instead of calling for regulations, workers' rights, or less...
Now, guys, one of the things that I definitely wanted to point out, and I heard that while I ran, y'all could hear it in my voice. Had to run. I had somebody at the door, y'all. That's strange. I don't like when that happens. People just show up, don't know who they are while they're knocking on your door. Let me tell you, one of the things that I heard while I was away was that this phenomenon of hustle culture that we have going on right now is so people can maintain a luxurious style of living that they think that they're owed and that they deserve. So this isn't necessary per se. It really isn't. They're doing this so they can maintain an image for people that they don't even like.
Work hours, the opposite path is to adapt and rationalize. Why complain about systems supposedly out of your control when you can work 80-hour weeks and build yourself up to be Jeff Bezos? Those union workers are so entitled, they're lucky to even have jobs. You don't have to be a communist to call out the end game of capitalism. However, in the United States, you will be ostracized and labeled as such. Hard work pays off is a popular quote used amongst Americans, and it is further perpetuated by the people who have made it. Just as rich celebrities thank God for their blessings, the high rankers of capitalism thank the system for allowing them to obtain a mass amount of assets and power. When working class people take these billionaires at face value, we decide to fight and toil to be among the 1%, rather than realizing that we hold all of the economic leverage. Unfortunately, the fantasy...
So just like we talked about power yesterday, it seems that we hold the economic leverage. It looks like we hold the economic leverage. So what are they going to do if we start saying no? What are we going to do if we stop consuming their stuff? What are we going to do if, I don't know, instead of taking the bus, we all bought cars? We all walk to work. We carpool with our friends and our other people that we're hanging out with. What happens then? What happens then if we all take a stand and say we're not putting up with it anymore? Then what? Well, they're going to have to bow down to the consumer, right? Or they go broke. You see, we feed them, we clothe them, we serve them, we entertain them, we make them money by feeling good about the things that we accomplish. They're not accomplishing anything. They're not doing anything. They're sitting there and they're letting their money double, triple, quadruple, gain off the percentages, and then what do? They say, "Thank God that I got all this money." Anybody could get this money. So you telling me that there's Somalians in Somalia right now who makes $1 a day, and he think he's gonna be the next Bill Gates? It's possible, but let's be honest, it's not plausible. See, if they can sell you a dream, if they can sell you anybody's dream, and you buy it, they got richer off you buying that dream. They got richer off you thinking that, oh, I could be just like them. Why would you want to be just like them? Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be happy with what you got. And then build on it. But you're gonna off yourself in the form of labor? For who? For what? For why? No, never in my lifetime. That hey, Tiz, do you want to go ahead and do and be?
No.
What?
I said no.
Why not?
I don't want to.
I don't want to. It's that simple. Oh, why don't you have a McLaren? I don't want one. I don't need one. It doesn't make sense for me to have one right now. It doesn't. What do you want? I mean, I kind of got everything that I need right now. What do you want, though? I mean, I'm not really focused on that because for so many years, I was focused on the things that I needed. And now that I have what I need, I kind of just am appreciating it. That doesn't mean that I don't want more. It doesn't mean that, I don't want to go out and continue creating or getting bigger or, I don't know, quitting my day job. That would be great. That is the goal, but it's not the goal at all costs unless it's the goal at all costs. There are certain costs that I'm not willing to pay, but I am willing to pay a great cost. I'm not going to sell my body parts. I'm not going to do anything crazy like that. I wouldn't do anything like that. I'm not going to sell anybody else, but I will lose a couple hours of sleep. You know what I'm saying? Be reasonable, people. Always going to the extreme about everything. You have the power. You have the power as a collective, especially.
Of making it from nothing and having your hard work and side hustles pay off is more alluring in this day and age than uniting with your fellow workers and risking your workplace image. The crabs in a bucket mentality that comes along with hustle culture has also been disastrous. People in the same income bracket argue and fight over who's lazier based on standards set by the rich. Of course, the problem isn't your greedy boss/CEO cutting corners for profit. It's your neighbor who gets unemployment checks because they pay more than a full-time job does. When Elon Musk takes money from the government to make shitty promises, Tesla, Cybertruck, boring tunnel, free speech Twitter, he's a genius. But when a working class person games the system, they're a leech. As Marx once said, it is not the consciousness of men that determines their being, but on the contrary, their social being that determines their consciousness. While hustle culture may have initially promised success and achievement, its impact on a generation cannot be ignored. The relentless pursuit of productivity has taken a toll on mental health, work-life balance, and personal fulfillment. It is crucial for individuals to reassess their priorities, redefine success on their own terms, and prioritize their well-being above all else. Instead of adapting and slaving away for a system that's rigged against the common citizen with no capital and connections, we should be more mindful of the power we have together. Thank you for watching and tuning in. Subscribe and comment.
So, guys, I mean, the verdict is pretty much still out, but not to me. I think this is how it should go. You want more stuff? Go work harder. That's how it should go. You want more stuff? Go work harder. But the stuff that you are paying for and the way that the country is set up, you are entitled to the things that you pay into. You pay into Social Security. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You pay into healthcare. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You pay into the roads. You pay into the schools. You pay into the space program. You pay into all of these things. There's nothing that's saying that you can't audit the people that have your money. There's nothing saying that at all. I just want to know why, you guys won't say the same thing that I do. Why don't you go do this then?
No.
What?
I said no.
Why not?
I don't want to.
I don't want to. I'm not gonna. That's just how it works. I mean, you know what happens next, right? You got two choices. You can either go ahead and use that thing or I'm going to take care of you. And then everybody going to be sitting there worried about what happened to you. And I'm just going to be standing there the whole time while they doing this. The entire time. The entire time. I don't care. Let's hear from the people right here. Let's go ahead and see what they got to say. We got some comments in here. What's up, Classic? How you doing? What's up, Classic? What's up? What's up, Conversations? What's up, Rain? We got Joe Jet in the building. What's up, Joe Jet? We got the ones from K. Conversations Soft Rain said Vietnam and feminism. Make sure you guys tune in to the prelude to the Valentine's Day live show tonight on the RSC channel. You guys go ahead and do that. Classic's in here. And again, we got Roxy. Hey, Rock. Hey, again, I'm back. Sorry, had to run to the milk to the store. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that being said, we had a show that's coming up. And if you're in the Chicagoland area, or even if you're not in the Chicagoland area, the hotel rooms ain't that expensive right now. I mean, like, if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't.
I'ma win any type of way. That's a parlay you could take to them. I'm having that aura, I got that glow. They hate it worse when they know that you know. Walk in the room like I'm covered in gold. I used to suppress it, was about to implode. I used to suppress it, was about to explode. Sore thumb in the room everywhere that I go. Black sheep for the fam, used to think something was wrong. Took a little time to realize I was chose. Took a little time to realize I was special. Ever since birth, been a cold under pressure. Wanna be great, gotta do a little extra. That's why I grind with obsession. Everything about me irregular, everything about me is pressure. Maximum effort, no box left unchecked on the checklist. No stone left unturned, mash on the gas and etc. Or farming hoe, I'm up in rank. Step in the room, they pave the way. I get treated like a milli tank. Southpaw like I'm really tank. I do things that they really can't.
So you guys get your tickets. I'm going to be there. The guys are going to be there. The lovely conversation with Soft Rain is going to be there. It's going to be a blast. We're going to make sure it's nice and fun on Valentine's Day weekend. And hopefully you and a sweetie or somebody that you meet will have a good time. And even if y'all don't, enjoy the people around you. Enjoy the space that's there. There's going to be some good music, classics performing. It's going to be a good time. So the question, if you guys are just now joining us on today's episode of the TezDown, is when did hustle culture get so toxic? And we're going to join the podcast, Is Hustle Culture Toxic, by Terry Griffin and his people right now. We're only going to be on one of their segments.
But us, we're like, oh, we can money up.
And you got to remember, though, in other countries, their food is not as processed as our food is.
Yep, exactly.
Right. So they tend to live longer than we live because they're eating better and they're taking care of themselves better. So they can work hard and hustle and enjoy what they worked hard for because their lifespan is longer than ours.
Yeah. When is the last time you guys felt like overwhelmed?
Oh, I got a good story.
Like from like the hustle, from being on, it's a thing to always show up. So when is the last time like you've been like overwhelmed like in this entrepreneur experience?
I have a good story for this one. So it was probably in November of last year. Like I did maybe it was October. I did like 5 hours worth of recording. And it was fresh off of 12-hour shifts, so I was already exhausted. And by the end of the shift, I had felt so drained and so just out of body, and I just wanted to cry. So I sat in my car and I cried for like a good 30 to 40 minutes because it was just I didn't feel well.
Right.
And the next day I canceled everything. I had more recordings. I canceled recordings, appointments because I needed to be at home, and it was just too much on my mental and energetically. I think a lot of people don't understand that when we're podcasting, it's a transaction, and a lot of us talking to these people is active listening. So by the end of 5 hours, I was more than drained. Not only did I deal with a team of 34 people and strategically planning on how to make sure that I'm meeting my goals, but then I came and exerted myself in that way. And then I was supposed to do it again. There was just no way. I damn near wanted to quit because it was just, I didn't understand. Podcasting.
Yeah. You're like, I ain't going to.
Oh, she wanted to quit podcasting.
Did you have guilt? Did you feel guilt of like canceling? Because a lot of times when we put ourselves first or when we do some shit for ourselves, we feel guilty. Yeah. So like, did you, in that moment when you canceled, did you feel guilty?
I don't think it was guilt. I felt like a failure.
Okay.
Because we live in a culture where it's like you can have it all if you work hard enough.
Yeah.
So I felt like I failed. I'm very competitive at that. So it was really just a shot to my ego because I like to stay on top of podcasting. I like to be in my realm. So for me not to be in love with it at that point, it was really heartbreaking. So it's hard to choose yourself in that lane.
All right, ladies.
But it's hard to choose yourself, but
just after the holiday time.
Okay.
November and December have been the busiest months for me as far as business, going to events, holiday parties, galas, mixing and mingling, and still talking to clients throughout the day. Like, if I could sit here and think about the number of people that I've talked to in the last 60 days alone, is well over 100 people, like over 100 conversations had, connecting with people, networking, mixing and mingling, and showing up and being fully present to listen and talk, to be able to receive what it is that I'm even in that room for.
Yeah.
So like today, I'm literally on fumes. I'm going to admit I had a sip of an energy drink after. Anytime people offer me an energy drink, I say no, because 10 years ago, it's been well over 10 years since I had an energy drink. And today I took 2 sips because I'm that tired.
Relapse.
Yeah.
I know, I feel bad. I'm sorry about it.
But no, it's because
You could have told me no, but you ain't had to come to this motherfucking podcast. But
no, but
Like,
it's
no.
one of, no, I know, but there's things that you have to show up for.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And like, you show up for me and I'm showing up for you, just like I was like this year I'm only showing up for people who show up for me, period. I can't overextend anymore. I can't do last minute. Like, if you knew 3 months ago and you're telling me yesterday that is tomorrow, I can't. Like, my life is not set up like that. Like, I have to move things around.
Yeah.
So like, that's me putting a boundary.
I remember asking you a
respecting my own
goddamn
time,
thing.
because as an entrepreneur, you're like, I don't want to miss it. Like, that could have been my shot. I could have met so and so. I could have did this. I could have did that.
Yeah.
But like right now, I'm like, I'm tired, but I'm showing up and I'm fully here and I'm fully present, because this is what I want for myself. This is what I've been working for. But definitely taking some time off just to regroup. Like, I planned out my year, so that lets me feel a little more at ease, and it's not me just flying at the seat of my parents right now.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm overwhelmed now, but I'm going to reel it in. I'll be okay. And we're gonna, and LaRonda, I have to say, the last time this happened to me, she was like, it's okay to say no. Get your rest. You don't have to come. You don't. And I'm like, I know, I'm coming though.
Well, shit, Negro, that's all you had to say.
That's all you had to say.
Doesn't make any sense.
Too bad.
That's all you had to say.
You know, because it's like, for me, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I don't want to, like, if I say no, I can't, just know, like, oh,
she really can't.
She really can't.
Yeah, she
you know
can't.
what I'm saying? Like, I'm not making up excuses. It's just like, I genuinely will just sit there like, you know? So, yeah.
I want to.
No, I ain't got no problem. I ain't got no problem telling somebody whether I can or cannot do something. No problem whatsoever. She's like, oh, I feel so obligated. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm just like,
No.
What?
I said no.
Why not?
I don't want to.
that's it. I don't want to. Again, sometimes you have to learn how to actually speak to people and keep it 100 with them. It is not offensive for you to tell somebody no.
See, my last time feeling overwhelmed like that was September. It was in 2023, so a little before September, but it was like the combination of me wearing many hats. It was me working a 9-to-5, being an entrepreneur, being a mother, being a wife, and doing all of that stuff and pouring into everybody else and not myself.
Right.
Hey, so today I kind of want to talk about the hustle culture. In today's time, a lot of us just think hustle, right? We always have to be on the go, on the move, selling, working, like, oh, I sleep when I die type situation, right? That's what's embedded in us as entrepreneurs and what they say. And so I just want to kind of talk about that. Let me know, what is your perspective on the hustle culture?
I don't know, y'all.
You know what? I think it can be very toxic at times.
For sure.
Just to keep going until you burn yourself out is just not smart. Because we do need to rest, we do need to sleep, we need all those things to be able to be successful and of value. So I think we as entrepreneurs have to change the hustle culture a little bit. Like, it's good to hustle, but also put yourself first and make sure you're good. Because if you're not physically, mentally able, nothing is going to flow at all. And I've learned just from my own personal experience of just being mentally exhausted, burnt out, and it's not conducive to the hustle at all. But we are out here betting on ourselves. And like, just before I came here, I was a little late because I took a client. I was like, you want me to say no to money? What?
Well, I'm glad we were running a little late.
It worked out perfect.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I agree with Charnay. It's very toxic. That's like one of the, you have to go to this unlearn and relearn phase of your life where you unlearn a lot of the toxic things that you're taught as a child. And sleeping when you die, like, what the heck? Like, when you really break that down and think about it, you like, really? What the hell? So you want me to work my butt off and not enjoy any of the things that I worked hard for?
Hey,
Because
look, again, I know we're gonna do it again. Look, you ain't got to say any of that to anybody ever. All you got to say,
No.
What?
I said no.
Why not?
I don't want to.
That's it.
And hustling 24/7. That means I'm not eating like I'm supposed to. I'm not exercising like I'm supposed to. I'm not hydrating myself, and I'm not taking care of my mental. And taking care of your mental is like one of the most important things that you need to do so that you can do everything else. So I definitely had to kind of transition from that. And words are very powerful. And I don't want to say stuff like that. I'll rest when I'm dead. Like, what the hell? Are you serious?
Yeah.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
It really does.
But I think it's because we're Americans. Like, there's a couple people that I know that are not Americans. They're like from London or from different parts of the world. They have a different perspective. They think it's a positive. Like, we think it's negative because we're in that kind of environment. But in other countries, they don't have that accountability, the work ethic. So they think of it as a pro. Whereas we're capitalistic society where it's work, and all about money. So I think the pro in that is we know how to hustle. Like, you can go pretty much anywhere and learn how to build a business and pretty much work your way up through whatever struggles you might have. In other countries, it's not so. Like, people are stuck in their classes and there's not a lot of room for growth. So yes, I think it's toxic, but I also think it has a pro. Like, if you were to move out, that's why a lot of people, they are so successful when they move overseas because they have that hustle mentality and it's cheaper overseas.
I think even moving out of state lets you know. We are in California. The hustle is real out here.
Yeah,
we
like
can
that
go
shit, you ain't got
somewhere
no
else
choice.
and literally build cities with these mindsets and be successful and make it look easy. Because I've gone places and I'm just like, y'all really need to have this. It should be this. And why aren't you doing this? These people want this. And it's like, they're comfortable with where it's at. Like, but us, we're like, oh, we can millennial.
And you got to remember, though, in other countries, their food is not as processed as our food is.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
So they tend to live longer than we live because they're eating better and they're taking care of themselves better. So they can work hard and hustle and enjoy what they worked hard for because their lifespan is longer than ours.
When is the last time you guys felt like overwhelmed?
Oh, I got a good story.
Like, from like the hustle, from being on, like it's a thing to always show up. So when is the last time like you've been like overwhelmed, like in this entrepreneur experience?
I have a good story for this one. So it was probably in November of last year. Like, I had
okay, so we already heard her say this part, guys. Come on, come on now. Come on, y'all really think that everybody is just working because they want to work? People aren't working because they want to work. That's why everybody's looking for online jobs. We already found this. And they're not, and most of these people aren't even really trying to impress you by doing so. Most of us who work every day or all the time, we're just trying to survive. We're trying to make a way so we can do something else that we actually want to do. So I'm not about to demonize somebody for not grinding all day long, but I also am going to tell them if they're not grinding enough. There's a sweet spot to all of this, y'all. You don't want to work until it kills you, but at the same time, you don't want to not work at all because you're going to get fat, lazy, and sloppy, and that's just how it works. And who wants to be around fat, lazy, and sloppy? Nobody. Not me, not you, nobody else. But so if somebody tries to tell me, well, I need to do this not just for my mental health, it's got nothing to do with my mental health, I just don't want to do nothing at all. I don't want, and I'm like, okay, cool. You ain't got to, you don't have to want to do anything. Just know that if you're not being taken care of, the only person whose fault it is yours. Now, I'm not talking about things that we're entitled to. I started off the conversation by talking about what your real entitlements are. You do have real entitlements based on the country that you live in. You do. And you should, especially if you're paying taxes to a government that's supposed to be taking care of these things because I don't know, they promised to do so. So let's wipe that there. I'm just saying, if you want a McLaren, go get you a McLaren. I don't know. I just like my car that I got right now. I want to make sure that car runs just fine. It can take me up and down the road, take me where I need to go, look nice, park it outside, that type of thing. That's all I need right now. That's what I'm focused on. You got to manage your own wants, not your needs. We ain't talking about needs here. We're talking about these wants that everybody seems to have. Let's hear it from somebody who's famous. Let's see what they have to say. But before we do that, I want y'all to do me a favor. We got another segment that we're gonna do right now. It's a short segment. I want everybody to get up. Who's up? If you can. If you sit in a chair, I want you to just stretch. Let's stretch. Let's promote some good health today. Touch those fingers. Get that neck right. Let's roll it out. Get them arms over here. Yes. All right, that's all we need. Yeah. All right, that's all we needed for that. Hopefully y'all are stretched out. I'm stretched out. I'm loose. I'm limber. I'm ready to go. It's time to tack the second half of our day today. That's what I want to do. That's what I got to do. I got stuff to do right up after I get up out of here. So let's move right on. Lotto has something to say about being rich. Let's see what it is, since don't nobody know about being rich. Don't nobody know about being rich. Is it greed or is it ambition?
My family is a millionaire. Like, I really did that.
What does it feel like to be able to buy almost anything you want?
It's kind of boring.
Why?
I was a millionaire at 21. So it's like you grow up fast. I think I get the most like fun spoiling everybody around me now. It's boring. I don't fun, don't get me wrong. True happiness.
That fast.
Because we don't have money, we chase it. Like, okay, I gotta get this money. Then when you get the money, it's like, damn, now what? You know? And I don't even have billions yet. Yeah, it just get old fast.
Do you feel like you'll ever get to a point where you have a different perspective or a different relationship with money?
Of course, I want more. Like, I.
What was that classic?
Blah, blah, gay sex, blah, blah, Congress.
I know.
I want it to be like a generational thing. But I also just be like, dang, like, am I just gonna be like chasing money forever?
Maybe if you would have came into that first million later in your life, you'd have a different appreciation.
Yeah.
Because most people don't touch $1 million at 21.
Right. Like, I don't know if it's, I mean, obviously it has its pros, but I don't know if it's the best thing for a 21-year-old to be seeing that much money that fast. Like, it kind of takes away life's experiences, like the come up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yo, I'm gonna play it one more time for y'all who missed it.
Nobody in my family is a millionaire. Like, I really did that.
What does it feel like to be able to buy almost anything you want?
It's kind of boring. 21. So it's like you grow up fast. I think I get the most like fun spoiling everybody around me now. Yes, it's boring. I don't think that's what everybody should be chasing.
What should
it's
people be
fun,
chasing?
don't get me wrong. True happiness. Because we don't have money, we chase it. Like, okay, I gotta get
Shit, Negro. That's all you had to say.
and I don't even have billions yet. Yeah, it just get old fast.
Do you feel like you'll ever get to a point where you have a different perspective or a different relationship with money?
Of course, I want more. Like, I want it to be like a generational thing. But I also just be like, dang, like, am I just gonna be like chasing money forever?
Maybe if you would have came into that first million later in your life, you'd have a different appreciation.
Yeah.
Because most people don't touch $1 million at 21.
Right. Like, I don't know if it's, I mean, obviously it has its pros, but I don't know if it's the best thing for a 21-year-old to be seeing that much money that fast. Like, it kind of takes away life's experiences, like the come up, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think? You think it takes away from that? You see it takes away from that? I don't think so. I don't. I think that you appreciate what you appreciate when you appreciate it. And if you can't appreciate something, it's because you had a different mindset about going about it. If I ever was to get millions of dollars, I'm thinking about ways to make sure that I am good, I am taken care of, I got the nice things that I can relax in. You know, I walk into the place and I feel like I'm like I'm cozy. That's what I like, and that's what I'm trying to do. But also, my mom's gonna be fine. My dad's gonna be fine. My nieces and nephews are gonna be fine. You know, my kids, you know, whatever future kids, whatever, they'll be fine. Everybody's gonna be fine because I'm solid. If I'm solid, everybody else is gonna be fine. That's influence. I can build the influence the right way. I'm not about to lord over them while they have nothing and I have everything, but I will. I'm not gonna say they got the exact same stuff as me because obviously if they didn't work for it, they won't have the exact same stuff as me. Don't try to be entitled to what somebody got if you're not willing to put no work in. If you're able-bodied, you don't have anything. I feel like I'm able-bodied. Now let's face the facts here. Not everybody is able-bodied out there, and people who try to say they're able-bodied have seen what you look like. You ain't been to the gym in 15 years. When the last time you ran full speed? You're not able-bodied. Okay, moving on from there. We might have been created equal, but we sure didn't stay that way. Now, did we? No, we didn't. Just keeping it 100. Got to. But if you somehow get there, and I'll say why she didn't appreciate it. Because she got there for nothing. Her success was handed to her. I'm not saying that she didn't listen to the people that were handling her. I'm just saying that when your success is handed to you, you don't really appreciate it the same way as somebody who got it out the mud. You don't. This is why kingdoms tend to fall when people inherit thrones rather than win them. That's why. Go ahead, let's get Lotto up off the screen. We got somebody else we're going to look at and see what they got to say. Bye, Lotto. Lotto was out of here today. I would rather hear from a different artist. Wouldn't y'all? Y'all want to hear from a different artist too? I got the perfect artist to listen to. I promised this. I promised this today, so we're going to go ahead and make it happen. Been a while since we've seen him, but it's cool.
World is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. You want to be successful? You want to be like Trump? Gimme. Push. Step. Crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, you know, I feel like instead of us just being like, slavery's bad, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that, I mean, we've been slighted and we want ours. And I don't mean by like ours, 40 acres in the mule, because we passed that. But we need help. I mean, for us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it from. For us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help. Because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there. And now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You know, you dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels and they paid and everything. And they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, you know, everybody need a little help on their way to being, you know, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something and they to be independent. No independent person just grew up and was born independent. You worked and you learned teamwork and you learned cooperation and unity and struggle, and then you became independent. And we have to teach that and instill that. And why is it that they want to do that? I mean, if this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it, and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the black kids. If there's a white person who got money, then you need to help them. You need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it need to be real. And it need to be before we all die, and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish. When God punishes you. Because I feel like, you know, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting Lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1,000,000 billion and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way. These people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants. If they earned it, then I think that that's good. I think that they deserve it. But even if you earned it, you still owe. Because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I got to give them some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket, I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter or $1. It's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket. And that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. You understand? We all know how hard it is, and it's not about if you good or you bad. So since it's not about if you good or you bad, we know that because he don't got, don't mean he was bad, or don't mean he's a criminal, or don't mean he's crazy, or a drug addict, or none of that. It just means he don't got. And ain't it bad that you got 30? I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million, and this person has nothing, and you can sleep, you can still go to the movies about. I mean, and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards, millionaires. How can they be humanitarians? By the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are. You know what I'm saying? And that bugs me. Not saying that when I'm never gonna be rich, and you know what I'm saying, but I'm saying it's a struggle, and I think everybody deserves it. And I think there's a way to pay these people. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary, and it takes to do something out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that if we just said, okay, I got an idea. No more porno buildings. You know what I'm saying? Let's build houses. Or no more polo games. Let's build houses for poor people. You know what I'm saying? Or look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense.
No.
It don't. And then these people celebrate.
What?
I said no.
Why not?
I don't want to.
Christmas, they got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole 9. That's not fair to me.
Hey, yo, shout out to Tupac, wisdom from the grave. So that interview was taken over 25 years ago, over 30 years ago. That interview was taken, and what's changed? Anyone? Tupac said that it's greed. It's not ambition. It's greed. Yes, it's okay to have great things. You can have a mansion. You can have a nice car. You can have nice clothes. Nobody said you couldn't. But do you need all of them? Do you need all of them? Tupac said that if he has $3,500 in his pocket, it's weird to give someone 35 cents. Now, here's the thing. Nobody is saying that you have to give them anything. But it's just a little weird. You know, that you need all of it. It's just a little bit, you know. Just a little bit. I'm inclined to agree with Tupac. Let's get to the chat. What's up, chat? What's up, chat? Do I got something else for the chat? We're gonna read some of the chat, interact with the chat today, y'all. Y'all ready for that? Y'all want to do that? Y'all want to interact with the chat? Y'all tired of me talking about the government and all of that?
Blah blah gay sex, blah blah Congress.
Y'all tired of that? Are you sure?
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Anyway, hey man, be nice to my chat. Be nice to my chat. I didn't ask for that.
Yes, you did.
Hey man. Anyway. Let's why don't we read the chat? Conversations with Soft Rain said, one thing that I have learned in the last month, sometimes you have to make that decision to choose you first. Can't pour from an empty cup. That's 100% right, Soft Rain. You got to be able to fill up your own cup. You can't worry about what everybody else is doing if you're not taken care of. You can't do that at all. Let's get to the next one. All right, we got... Y'all are funny in this chat. I got to figure... Okay, Uncle Plug is next. Uncle Plug said their eyes are bigger than their stomachs, grinding and hustling for others instead of themselves. That's crazy work. I'm inclined to agree with that. I hustle for me. If you're with me, then the side effects of the hustle will benefit you as well. Hey, tell them. Black Mona Lisa in the building. What's up, Black Mona Lisa? Good to see you in here. She said, I'm late. It's okay. It's recorded. You can watch this at any time. So, on a moment like right now, when you're probably sitting in your car, you could turn me up just a little bit, let your windows up, turn your heat on or your AC, depending on what season it is. Or if it's nice outside where you live, let those windows down, let that breeze into your hair, and let my voice fill your ears. You should do this every day. You will enlighten yourself, and you will make me smile. And as you can see, it's a pretty good smile to have. The Classic Code says, she tweaking hard. Americans are extremely lazy by comparison. I think I have to agree with you, Classic. Classic said, Cap, the food is way better. The chocolate sister is on point. Yeah, she said it. When you leave to go overseas, the food is better. And I am inclined to agree. Lisa said, we lazy as hell. We want things so fast, but not by having to work for it. Plug says, facts, lazy AMF, you dig? What does it say? What does it say? What did he say?
Yes, you did.
Conversation Soft Rain said, it is classic. I know someone that went overseas and they didn't change their diet at all, still consumed some foods and lost weight. Had better labs too. Yeah, 100%. Every time I leave, I feel better coming home. Absolutely no preservatives at all. They don't even have regular refrigerators in most common spaces, and most of the restaurants don't use them. Everything is fresh. They keep them on ice. Classic said, fire, fire, fire. Conversation with Soft Rain said, I feel most Americans like fast and easy money. Classic said that stretch break is perfect. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I loved it. I loved it. Hey, yo. Black Mona Lisa said that felt good. That felt good. It sure did. It sure did. Uncle Plug said for sure. Classic Code said, I'm all stretched out. It's crazy, blood. It's crazy.
Just blah, blah, gay sex, blah, blah, Congress.
Hey, that's what we talk. Every time. He said, pause. Black Mona Lisa said, yikes. So Rain said she needed that. Glad we could be of service today. He said, I see you, Tez. Understood. All right. Plug, what's up with the BTC today? Okay, y'all had a Bitcoin story. We can skip right over that. It's going down. It's going down bad. Bitcoin is taking a tank today. It's crashing hard. Rob, our FRC, welcome to the chat, Rob. More relevant than ever. If there was any change, it was for worse. Conversation with Soft Rain said, I would think that as long as the person with the money was doing some charitable work, then who am I to count their pocket?
I don't remember asking you.
I'm kidding.
Shit, Negro. That's all you had to say.
That's all you had to say. Joe Jet says, the change has been the gap between the haves and the have-nots. The elites get richer and the middle class shrinks. It leads to the old Europe elites. Lords, which is current day companies and government. Don't tell them nothing that they don't want to hear, Joe Jet. Don't tell them nothing that they don't want to hear. Don't be doing that now. So what's the verdict? Is it greed or is it ambition? I'm here to say that the jury might still be out, but I've made my mind up. I'm not greedy. I'm ambitious. And if you're greedy, I'm gonna have to decline. I'm gonna have to decline if you're greedy. I think it was an excellent show today. What y'all think? I think it was an excellent show today. I had a good time. One more time for those people who didn't know that we had a show coming up next weekend. Make sure
in any type of way. That's a parlay you could take to them. I'm having that aura. I got that glow. They hate it worse when they know that you know. Walk in the room like I'm covered in gold. I used to suppress it, was about to implode. I used to suppress it, was about to explode. Sore thumb in the room everywhere that I go. Black sheep for the fam, used to think something was wrong. Took a little time to realize I was chose. Took a little time to realize I was special. Ever since birth, been a cold under pressure. Wanna be great, gotta do a little extra. That's why I grind with obsession. Everything about me irregular. Everything about me is pressure. Maximum effort. No box left unchecked on the checklist. No stone left unturned. Mass on the gas and etc. Or farming hoe, I'm up in rank. Step in the room, they pave the way. I get treated like a milli tank. Southpaw like I'm really tank. I do things that they really.
Yo, one last time for everybody. Show up to the show. We're gonna have a good time. Y'all are going to have a good time. And then hopefully in a perfect world, y'all leave the show after having a great time. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all have a good time after y'all had a great time at the show. before I sign off of here, I want you guys to do personal inventory. And I'm asking, you can say whatever you want to say about it. You can let me know that it's not for you. If it's not for you, just say so.
No.
What?
I said no.
Why not?
I don't want to.
So, I mean, you guys make your minds up. You heard it from Tupac. You heard it from Tupac. That was over 30 years ago, and Tupac was trying to let us know this beforehand. I don't have to do any craziness. I don't have to be crashing out. It's the truth. Listen to what Tupac said. Look at where the life ended up getting him anyway. And it's kind of funny that every time somebody starts talking like that, that's what happens. They can't get all of this. They can't. So what do? They divide us. We're not really divided. And that's the verdict today. We're not really divided. We're being played like a fiddle. And they let you know immediately. They come at you just like this.
Oh, no, I ain't come looking for no little bars. I ain't got no milk, no cookies, nothing. I came looking for man.
Hey, they let you know. They let you know. So, without further ado, I am Tez. I'm 2-4. I hope the stretch was good for you as it was for me. Always is. I hope it was. I hope it was, though. But let me let you know, it always is. I'm Tez. I'm 2-4. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Why don't you change somebody's life today, even if it's just your own?
I'm the Tez. I'm the Tez.
Welcome to the TezDown. Welcome.
I'm the Tez.
Mic check 1 2. Welcome. Welcome to the TezDown. Party time.